Hi, can you guys hear me? Rachel and is it Aryamon? Oh gosh, please tell me if I got that wrong. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Oh, yes. Awesome. Yay, I'm so glad I got it right. Oh my, well, I had to turn my sound on too, Rachel. How are you guys doing? I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being here. This is my first ever live stream. In case that wasn't obvious. I'm good. Yeah, I'm my first cup of coffee is still sinking in. Thank you, Rachel. Not quite there yet. Which I realize is weird for 1 p.m. I know, I'm so excited. 500 subs. We're actually at like 552 now or something. It was like we got to 500 and then just like kept going. It was so weird and so exciting. Lilith is trying to put her head up here. Nope. Nope what? Just nope. Oh. Coffee is life. Yeah, I have it right here. Coffee gives us life. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna read these in case anybody's watching the replay. Aryamon said, "You deserve it. Your videos are amazing and so informative." Thank you. Thank you so much. I I try. You can definitely tell that I'm still learning. That's actually one of my favorite things about what do you want? Come here. That's one of my favorite things about thank you, Rachel. Rachel says she totally agrees. One of my favorite things about this channel is that you guys are like learning with me. So like I get to try new things and do new things and okay, come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. She's a bit. You don't have to know everything. She literally just sat her butt down on the ground to avoid doing what I wanted her to do. She's the most stubborn puppy ever. Okay, well, I tried. Sorry. She's just gonna sit down here. So do you guys have questions for me? We can also just chat. I'm fine with that. It's cool. But you know how a lot of like I guess like people online a lot of times, like if they've got like a blog, anything that's like informational, people expect them to just like know everything. Like I try to know the answers to things, but I really enjoy learning new things, and you guys challenge me with that. So it's been a really good experience for me too. Okay, I can't read down there. Sorry. I'm gonna real quick post the link for this video on my Instagram bio real quick. So I was like, there we go. All right. Okay. I so badly wanted to know this. So have you seen Chilling Adventures of Sabrina? If yes, then it's all the magic they do in that possible. I love it. Okay. That's a great way to start. Okay. 2 of season 3. I am I'm kind of a television nerd, and I'm also a writer by profession. So I kind of got to this point with Sabrina where I just couldn't handle it anymore. Some of the acting in it is fantastic. The actors who play the aunts are fabulous, but the writing got really contrived, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So, no judgment to anybody who loves Sabrina, but I just I've been watching other things. For as far as the magic goes, I want to say one of my issues with Sabrina is not that the magic isn't possible, but it's very television. It's very Hollywood, I guess. So they don't show the things that you would necessarily have to do in order to like accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. I do believe in sigil magic. I totally believe in like the power of like repeating an incantation. Cooperative magic is extremely powerful. But how do I put this? Like the nature of our world, how it is now, how we live in it, is such that it's really difficult. It's not impossible. Like nothing's really impossible, but it's really difficult to have magic that is like immediately visible and undeniable to like anybody who's watching. So like imagine, say you're like summoning a flame in your hand or something. You might see it and you might feel it and it could totally be there and be real, but like somebody else, anybody else like walking by might not like even see it or recognize that and not be blind to it. And I think that's one of the reasons why it takes so much practice. It's not because we don't have the ability to be super magical. It's that like we're so used to living in a world that is just like facts and physical, like hard evidence and like, you know, if you can touch it, it's real kind of thing. Are you thinking about are there any spells in Sabrina that you're thinking of in particular? I have not yet discovered the power of a pact with the devil, but I mean, I've been thinking about it. So if, you know, oh my God, people are going to watch this. if I figure that whole thing out, supernatural powers from the underworld, I'll let you know. I want to say anything is possible, but I also want to say sleep demons and stuff. Okay. Actually, yeah. So when you go to sleep, you reach a higher like level of consciousness. Oh gosh, I'm reconnecting. Okay, can you hear me? I just saw 1111 on my live. Yeah. Okay. So when you are asleep, your brain goes through like different phases, levels of thank you, Rachel. Different levels of like waves. So it goes from like beta to alpha to theta. Ooh, I hope I got that right. And once you get to like a certain, like you kind of go through different levels of consciousness with each of those, or like unconsciousness with each of those levels. And so if your mind is open to it, and if your like spirit is open to it, dreaming can be like astral travel. Dreaming can be astral travel. It's like another way to do it. So when you're asleep and your physical body isn't like creating a barrier around you, if you don't have like energetic shields or like I sleep with crystals next to my bed and various other things. Like, it is really easy for and potentially keep you there against your will. I don't want to say that it's super common, but a lot of people that have nightmares that they can't get out of, or like lucid dreaming, like when you're lucid dreaming, you should be able to control your dream, but world or like expression of the world. So it is totally possible for people to get targeted and like sabotaged while they're asleep. Did that make sense? Like I said, like television is very like flashy, so it's really not, it doesn't look the same way. You're welcome. Okay, I'm glad it made sense. I've actually had that happen to me before, and that's one of the reasons why I sleep with crystals next to my bed. Or like I used to always have like a moonstone around my neck, even when I was sleeping, even though that's not super safe. Because I would have problems where I would try to be waking up for hours, and I was totally conscious of the fact that like stuff was going on. There were things going on around me. But I could not wake myself up like into the physical world. And I also got like, I finally got to a point where I didn't know, like every time I woke up, either in this world or in the other one, I didn't know which one I was in. And it was really scary. And that's one of the reasons why I think there's a lot of stigma about astral travel, and a lot of like scary, you know, like a lot of like cautionary tales. But I think people pass along like scary tales because they are hoping that people who will be like willy-nilly about it will not like hurt themselves. But it's not that it's, oh gosh, I don't know how to say your name. Can I say Moy? Is that all right? Any examples of places you astral travel? Is it like a simulation where you're free to do anything? Sort of. Your mind is very powerful. So if you go somewhere and you want to make something materialize, you can certainly do that. There is definitely a level of like dreaming there where it's kind of like lucid dreaming, where you can just kind of control where you're at. But I would say if you're actually traveling astrally and not just having like a higher consciousness, like meditation situation or like a lucid dreaming situation, you can control yourself, but not necessarily your surroundings, in that you can't like just make them be whatever you want them to be, but you can travel. Hi. Esley said hi. You can travel very quickly. So say you go to the astral plane and you come out in like a field and you see a forest in the yonder. Sometimes you can just move as quickly as like thinking, I'd like to be in that forest, and then you're there. But if you're looking at the forest and you think I'd rather the forest was pink, like that's not, like that's kind of like a line. Does that make sense? Yes, please ask me a question. Moy, if I didn't answer that, let me know if you want me to clarify, please. Go ahead, Esley, go ahead. Aryuman says, can you tell us about the Salem witch trials? Couldn't they just protect themselves from the burnings? Moy is fine. The mind is so powerful. Thank you. Yeah, the mind is crazy powerful. Okay, so Esley has a question, so I'm going to wait for that. And then until then, I'll talk about the witch trials. So yes and no. I get a little touchy about the subject, so please. So the witch trials did two things. They killed witches, but they also just killed women. It was a very like sexist, like power trip kind of situation. Any person of any female, So I think a lot of witches did protect themselves. I think there were probably a lot of situations where witches probably diverted the attention from themselves to someone else, potentially another woman who meant them harm, or an illusion or something like that. I definitely don't think all of the witches burned or drowned, but there were a lot of women who were just women, first of all, just like regular everyday women, midwives, maybe like doctors, or well, they wouldn't have been doctors, they wouldn't have been allowed to be doctors, but you know, like midwives and women who worked with herbs and stuff, healers. These women were often like convicted of witchcraft, and if they were the kind of like stalwart women who would not like bend on their like morals, I guess, it would have been very difficult for them to just walk away from, you know, the pregnant women that they were trying to help, or the sick people that they were trying to help. And so when they got caught, it was like, okay, like, what are you going to do about that? I think I feel like some of the men accused them of being witches and after sexually harassing them just so that they were silenced, which is so disgusting. Yeah, I completely agree. A bogus just attempt to kill like women who were healers. There were definitely witches. Like, witches were being hunted. However, a lot of witches were more clever and got away. Don't be something about that if you're gonna be a troll. Yeah, so there were like a lot of just women in general that were targeted, and they couldn't protect themselves necessarily the way a witch could. I do think there were still witches that were burned, but it was so rampant that it was like, where are you going to go to be safe? Like, you'd really have to go off grid. It's not really a thing in the 1700s, but I hope that answered your question, Marion. Okay, let's see what we can do about this. Did you guys know you could put people in timeout? It's fantastic. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it. Okay. Trolls go in timeout. Nice. I dig it. I'm gonna suggest a witchy show. You can watch it if you like. Okay, yeah, please do. I love them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love like witchy TV. I just sometimes get mad about how Hollywood portrays, because like, okay, so witchcraft is super like trendy. It used to be very taboo, and it still is pretty taboo, but now it's like really trendy. So like Hollywood was very much like, you know, witches get their, you know, powers from the devil, or like they're just like sexy women that can control your mind or whatever, to like the other side where it was like witches in all shapes and sizes, and making it so over the top and ridiculous on TV that if you are truly interested in witchcraft, or you are a witch, like they went straight from like, it's not real, to we're going to capitalize on it. And I just wish that like history could show witches in some sort of realistic light. That would just be great. Rachel says, have you read any of the 3 magical books of Solomon? Not yet, but I want to. Have you? Are they good? Arimon says it's called Always a Witch. You can watch it in English on Netflix. It's actually a Spanish show. Oh, no, I started it. And I think I was watching it with subtitles because the Spanish is really beautiful. And I wish that I could speak Spanish. but it got like kind of shoved down in my list. I forgot about it. So thank you for reminding me. I'll write it down. Maybe that's what I'll watch today. I've run out of things. I don't run out of things, but like, you know, when you finish a show or two and then you look at your list and you're like, none of this looks good. And I just didn't go far enough down. Moy says, yes, but the truth is that nature affects all parts of life and death. It's true. So there's always potential for witchcraft. Yeah, absolutely. There always is. There's energy in everything that's, you know, alive. I mean, even metal has energy. It's just that like my laptop doesn't, right? Because it's electronics, but like metal that you find in the earth it's an element. Rachel says Amazon has them in one bound book. Started reading it in OMG. Yeah. That's exciting. I know only basic stuff about the books of Solomon and like the Key of Solomon. There's so much to read, but I'm really interested in it. And also, yeah, like I've been thinking about looking into Kabbalah a bit. Ariman says, oh, don't worry. I get that feeling after quarantine started. I have finished Netflix, probably. Not just a show, the whole Netflix. Yeah, I totally get that. We're gonna work our way through all of Netflix. Netflix is gonna have to like really work to keep up. And I think that they're doing it. The Netflix is definitely one of I think they're better prepared than like, say, you know, like Hulu or Amazon. But Amazon Prime is streaming movies that are supposed to be in theater right now. I haven't like looked into pricing or anything, but so like if you were gonna go see something, then you could watch it on Prime. Is it Tomura? Oh man. You are just fine. You're not even late. It's 1:25. I don't know how long we'll be sitting here, but we're still taking questions and talking and stuff. So yeah, no worries. Rachel, I definitely want to hear. I'd love to follow up with you about that book later on. You can hit me up on Patreon or, you know, send me a DM or whatever. That'd be cool. I was actually going to read this while I was waiting for you guys, but then you popped in and I didn't. Oh, it's backwards. That's annoying. I hope you guys can read backwards. I tend to get books about things and then like I find them and it's like, oh, really? Oh, that's good. I mean, it looks like it's my mirror hand. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, so like I've already like been in the Akashic records. It's not that, it's just like sometimes I find something and I like find my books and stuff very intuitively, or like someone will tell me about it and then I'll like look for a thing. Like Deviant Witch actually recommended a book and I have it, but I haven't started it yet. Cause like when I read, it's so weird. It's like I was at a time in my life when I absolutely need it. So I pulled this book out about the Akashic records because I've been doing a lot of like meditating and thinking a lot about like astral travel and like past life regression lately, which are things that I practice, but it's always interesting it's interesting to read like what somebody else has to say about it, because just because it's something that I practice doesn't mean I know everything. So like there could be, you know, parts of the library that I've never been to, or techniques that I don't know, or something I never thought of, you know, trying. So I just love books too. So like I plan to have like, it's not even on purpose. I mean, eventually I want to have a home library, but like I just stockpile books. So I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. I completely forgot that it was Easter because I don't Easter. About the books, Rachel, or about Easter? Um, but yeah, I'm really excited. I honestly wasn't sure if anyone was going to show up. But I really enjoy chatting with you guys, and I've never done like this before. This is super cool. Get everybody in one place. Yeah, the books. Okay, cool. I totally get it. Yeah. So I actually have like a little pile over here on my desk that I was like, well, if nobody shows up, I'll sit here and read. Why wouldn't we come here? You are awesome. This is exciting. Why am I so hyped right now? I'm hyped too. It's good. It's good energy. I think like there's really no distance in the spirit. And so, you know, we're having like a congregation right now, and it's really freaking cool to get meet with a group of people that are, you know, like-minded or have some similar interests is like, it's a big deal. It's really cool. Thank you. You're also, you're awesome. You guys are amazing. Not to be like cheesy, but I legit wouldn't be making videos still if I didn't have you guys. So I really appreciate it. Sounds like a whiny thing to say. It also sounds super cliche. Everybody says that, but I really like the opportunity that I have to actually like get to know you guys a little bit. Do you guys have any other questions? I mean, no pressure. We could talk about Netflix too. I have music going on my TV from YouTube. It's like acoustic folk music. It's amazing. I have a request. If you have time, obviously, you can do it. Okay, yeah, what is it? I mean, I can certainly try. I can put it in my little schedule book. Assuming it's not something I can't do. I can't go film at a Starbucks right now. Why would I film at a Starbucks anyway? Somebody, I don't remember who it was. Oh, my memory is really bad, you guys. Somebody said that it would be cool if I could do a live stream from like a different location than home. And I was like, that would be fantastic. But I don't think that that's going to happen. Can you make a video going into details of light and dark as elemental magic? Yeah, actually, it is on my list. My next video, I think, that I'm getting ready to release is about fire magic. And I have a few in the queue because I I realized that like the practices themselves are things that people like want to learn. I do have a free, I don't know if you have it. I have a free, that was a lot of smileys and hearts. I'm glad you're excited. So darkness is my main element. Shadow is my main element. So that's the one I use the most. But it's one of the harder ones to make a video on. It's hard to demonstrate because like if you're demonstrating like fire or air, you have something like physical that you can use if you want to. You can like use like a, you know, like a feather or incense or a candle or whatever. With shadow and with light, it's different. So I've been kind of working on how I want to demonstrate that. And then also like trying to make like one video per practice, because if I make one that's got like 5 different techniques in it and I'm demonstrating them all, it'll be really long. And I already talked too much anyway. So, but yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm working on it. Is there anything in particular about the dark and light elements that you're curious about, or is it just that you want more information? Oh, I forgot to mention. Okay, so I wrote a book about elemental magic. And the link for it should be in the description for this when it posts. Excuse me. It's on Kindle, and it's also in paperback. It looks like this. But I also have a free one. So this one's a really good, like, starting, like, I put not all of my knowledge about elemental magic in it, but all of the basics. And then I have another one that's free that, like, if you, it's just like a PDF that you can download. There's going to be a link for that in the description too. And it'll give you some things that you can do. It's like invocations for elements, but it's like I said, like, it's a couple of practices. It's a really short, I mean, it's just like a few pages. But if you want that, that's there for you as well. I blocked you because you were being a troll. And if you continue to be a troll, I'll kick you out. That's why. All the information. I have the free ebook, but I can't buy right now because I'm 16. Sorry. Oh, dude, no pressure. I totally get it. But when I grow up, for sure, I'm buying. You can ask me a question about witchcraft. If you have a question about witchcraft, you can ask me a question. But if you're going to start talking about car washes again, then, I mean, I guess it could be worse, right? That's not the point. Okay, yeah, so the free ebook. Okay, good. So, gosh, light and shadow are amazing. So, yeah, so I'll work on that. Shadow is interesting because a lot of the work that you do with shadow elements comes out of meditation, or at least in the beginning. But I find that it's a really versatile element. Shadow and light are different from the other ones, obviously, and that, like, there's no, like, physical representation of them. Not really. There's just, like, a what kind of challenge? I'm, like, playing into the troll right now, you guys, because I feel like I'm a gamer, so I'm not afraid to do something about this if I need to. So light and shadow are a lot of mind work, if that makes sense. It's a lot of energetic manipulation, because you're not going to have, like, a flame in front of you that you can, like, physically see as moving. If you're manipulating shadows that are, like, outside, or, like, light that's, like, on, then you can definitely see that, but that's, like, a higher level. Like, you get there once you've got, like, a level of control. Like, I had a friend blow out light bulbs in her house before, and the other night I was trying to kill a, thank you, Rachel. The other night I tried to, Moy, I will get back to you. The other night I tried to, my words, I'm so sorry, you guys. I just forget them. I haven't mentioned this on the channel because it's not like a mental health channel, but I have ADHD. And I sometimes just forget the words I'm saying while I'm saying them. A street light. There was a street light I tried to black out the other night, and I don't actually know if I managed it because it was distance, like it was in New Orleans. but that's something that you can do eventually. Okay. Fun fact about earth magic. Ooh, earth magic is great. Fun fact about earth magic. Everything about earth magic is fun. I kind of wish, okay. Goodbye, troll. Thank you, Rachel. Fun fact about earth magic. Earth element people usually can access ley lines, even if other people can't. Trees will talk to you, which is great. You can actually feel their heartbeat and their energy, which is a lot of fun. The earth will also protect you. Earth magic is fun because you, and sometimes in bigger ways than you, I appreciate you. Thank you, Rachel. Sometimes you'll get it in bigger ways than you expect. I mean, I have had a whole park full of trees before, like, protect me from like negative energies, from demons, from, I don't even know, like if they were like maybe people. Like I used to not live in a very good, I had a lot of extra protection that I'm very thankful for. Also, people can be either like connected to like more of the like earth. You've got like earth, plants, dirt, things like that, and then you've got like animals and creatures. And some people are really good with both. And some people are a little bit better with one than the other. I have a friend that is just discovered her element recently, and she's very talented with the animals and creature side, and that's like her whole thing. But animals, you can learn to communicate with them as well in a way that other people can't necessarily. So that's fun. Do you want more? It was not one fun fact. I don't know how to do one thing. You see my painting? Oh, you can't really see the one below it. This one was fun because it was one of those like where you like layer paint in a cup and then pour it out, and like I feel protected. Their heart beats when they drink and eat. I'm not sure I understand. Like your body against the tree, and then like quiet yourself and like open yourself up to the energy from the tree, then you can like feel, it's like an energetic pulse that you can like feel coming from it. And then sometimes they tell you things. The older the tree about you so much, but then when they do care, you know, they're kind of like ants. Have you guys seen Lord of the Rings? Kind of like ants. Like they'll like, once they understand that you're a good human and you've got good energy and you respect them, that they'll kind of like envelop you in their old tree love and wisdom. I love old trees. Protection is good. Feeling protected is good. I've tried to read tree bark and it seems so macabre. It's interesting. I've never tried to read tree bark. That's really clever. Yeah, definitely. I would see a record of everything that's happened on the earth since they've been alive. So the older ones especially are going to have a lot of dark shit to say. To teach you when you're a youngin'. And I refused to learn. I just couldn't concentrate. And then, so really I probably learned when my sister taught me, and I just refused to do it. Kind of worked that way with a bike too. Coffee while I wait. Okay, Ariman says, you know what I have kind of always been attracted to? Light magic. And when you mentioned it as an element, it was so cool. But just to be sure, I wrote down the elements of different pieces of paper. Then I blindfolded myself. That's really clever. That's a good way to do it. Then I blindfolded myself and started picking them out one by one intuitively. And the final element left was light. And I was freaking blown away. Like, wow, that was so cool. Yeah. Your intuition knows. Your intuition absolutely knows. So if you allow, I know if I have the power to be a witch, it's like, really, if you're open to it, you can do it. That's super exciting. Light magic is fun. It's interesting. Light is usually associated with like good stuff, which I feel like you guys probably already know how I feel about that, but I don't think that there's good or bad magic. It's all in how you use it. But a good friend of mine is a light element, and she is in general just a delightful person. She's a delightful energy, and she's very powerful. Like I said, like she blew out light bulbs in her house once, and she's done it where like the light bulbs themselves shattered, but it was also, she's also done it in like more of a controlled like energy surge kind of way where like everything just like flickered and went out, but it didn't like destroy the house. So that was really cool. Like, you can learn to do some massive shit, but you can also learn how to control it, which is great. You can make things brighter. You can illuminate things that people would not normally see. There's usually a pretty interesting connection with like the spirit world with light magic people. Tend to be very, I mean, I think it depends on the person, but tend to be very intuitive and potentially like empathic. Oh, God's doing all that is my dream. Okay. Oh, really? It's important to practice here because the physical realm is going to be the hardest. So like making a flame move in front of you is going to be hard, right? Because your brain is going to be telling you that you're going crazy the whole time. And the rest of you is going to be like, no, I know I can do this. If you practice in the astral or during during meditation, you can do whatever you want to do and learn the techniques and grow your relationship with your element. And that can help strengthen your bond and your relationship with your element in the physical world as well. But I need to do a series on this, I think, but you can do magic in the astral it's still real magic. And as long as you like link it to the physical world, like if you don't have the tools or like the things that you need, like say you wanted to have like a whole laboratory or you needed like special devices or you didn't have like a safe space to practice, like say you live with your parents and you can't set up like a full-on ritual in your bedroom, you can do that in a safe space in the astral and it still counts. It'll act a little different. I think you have to be prepared for things to be a little bigger there because it's just the astral realm is just not like blocked to magic like the physical world is. I hope that made sense. You can do anything. And don't ever let anyone tell you you can't. You can do anything. Not sure if this makes sense. Can you do magic without a soul? That would be rough. Do you mind if I ask why you're asking? If it's personal, then that's fine. You don't have to answer me. But yeah, I think people can do magic without a soul. I think it'll be different. Not in like the true sense of sociopathic. I think more in like it wouldn't be so much like your emotion is fueling it, it would be more like the energy just moving. Whereas like emotion for most of us is a very powerful way for us to get our energy moving, if that makes sense. I got these cups at a White Elephant, and they're super Starbucksy, which is meh, but they're reusable. I have like 7 of these things. I'm just letting my curiosity get the best of me. The mind can go anywhere. Oh, that's totally fine. It's good to be curious. And it's an interesting question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. Okay, so do you guys watch The Magicians? Have you seen The Magicians on Netflix? I find The Magicians is a really, really interesting. Okay, so there are some shows and books that do a really good job of, I've been working on astral projection off and on, better with, I think it's called A Shamanic Stare. Interesting. How's that going? Shamanic Stare. So is that where you're connecting with your animal spirit? Because that's how I used to do it. So there's a lot of TV shows that and books that present magic really accurately, but just bigger, obviously, because TV. Another really good series for magic is it's a book series. It's called The Dresden Files. It's by Jim Butcher. I have some issues with the writing and the author. It's a little bit sexist. But so is everything. So if that doesn't bother you, then but he's a good writer. And there is a Wizard for Hire. The whole show or the whole book series is about a wizard who does like personal investigation, like accurate in real life. Same thing with the magicians. There's a lot of stuff in the magicians that's like just pretty for TV, but the laws around how their magic works and like how they travel, like Penny's a traveler, like how he travels from like world to world, and the way he like uses meditation to like visit people in their minds and like to go to other places, and like a lot of this is super, super accurate. The library would be what most people would call the Akashic records. When I visited the library, it was many, many, many years ago. The first time, I didn't know that there was a name for it, so I just still call it the library. Yeah, The Magicians is good. It's obviously a TV show. You know, I mean, you have to always expect television to be more entertaining than like accurate, but there's some gems in it for sure. And the acting is spectacular. But the reason I thought of that, Moy, is because there's some discussion in The Magicians about people's shades being removed. It's interesting because it's not tied to their magic at all, which again, it's a TV show, so that's not really like the answer per se, but excuse me. But I don't think that the soul is necessarily the thing that makes the magic happen. If you think about it, like the earth has magic, you know, trees and animals and rocks and all of that stuff has magic. It's very like, I have a very shamanic view, I guess, animistic, I suppose. But then, yeah, I mean, anything that has energy would have magic. Your soul is more what makes you like an infinite being, I guess. What connects you to your past lives and stuff. Now that you mention the library, I was there many years ago. Shamanic stare, how does that work? I feel like I know what you're talking about, but like I said, a lot of the stuff that I learned, I'm just now learning a lot of the terms for it because I learned. Hello, H. Huss. I just learned a lot of the terms recently. I've been learning the terms because when I started learning magic, I was learning on my own. I actually am a huge fan of Harry Potter. I freaking love Harry Potter. When I started watching, like, I watched them all first because I wasn't allowed to have the books when I was a kid. So I was a teenager. I started watching all the movies, and I wanted to finish them before I read the books because I didn't. A lot of people that I knew were like, "Yeah, the books are so much better," and like I just didn't want to ruin the movies. The books are amazing. I've also read all the books as an adult. They're incredible. I know there's a lot of like controversy with J.K. Rowling right now. I honestly haven't dug into that too far. Maybe I should, but like I just don't want to let it ruin Harry Potter. Harry Potter is incredible. It's so beautiful. Moy says, no, I understand. Just like you can get sick by drinking dirty water if you believe it makes you sick. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. The mind is super powerful. And I mean, yeah, like germs totally exist, right? But have some pretty blurred lines between. You can go all the way to the extreme where you're like, everything is light and love and like nothing matters on this plane. And you can go to the other extreme where you're like, everything is science. But I try to like land somewhere in the middle and understand that like it all kind of works together. That was probably a tangent, sorry. Rachel says, focusing on a thought while fully awake and then you start seeing things. Yeah, totally. Yep. Oh, is that what it? Yeah. So that's a really good thing to practice. That's a really good way to practice. That type of astral projection probably takes the most focus, and it's hard for a lot of people. I hesitate to tell you guys things are hard because, like, on the one hand, I don't want people to like try something and then just give up. But on the other hand, it's like, I don't think it's as hard as like we like to say it is, if that makes sense. Like once you're open, it's just about learning how to do it and like keeping up with it. And trances are interesting too. I've been working on trances a little bit actually. They're really, really key. It's weird. I probably should. It's a good time for it. I was actually going to move to New Orleans before all this started so that I could learn under a person at their temple, which is not something I would normally do. But I really wanted to like integrate voodoo into my practice pretty, like I wanted to be respectful about it and not just like half-assed do some voodoo. But then all of this stuff happened, and in the meantime I was like doing some like research and stuff, and I just didn't feel like the timing was right. It doesn't mean I've given up on voodoo by any means, but I think I can also learn it at home. Oh, how did you get back in here? Like, for real. Okay, bye. H. Huss says, how did you get into magic and spells? Seems random. For real, you want to know? It's kind of a long story. Feel free to jump in and ask me something else if you get tired of me rambling. I had a group of friends that I was hanging out with. I knew them from theater club in high school, and we were at a charter school, and so like there were not a lot of kids, and the theater nerds were actually like a pretty decent sized group. Like the gamers and the theater nerds were probably the biggest like clubs. It like at charter schools sometimes like because there's so many like quote unquote like weirdos, like the weirdos are almost like the popular kids. So there were a bunch of us, and a few of them formed what they called a circle, which is a very specific type of coven in their belief system. And all the guys at my school either talked about sports or video games. Yeah, I feel you. We had only a couple of like sportsy guys at that school, but that's because it was kind of like an experimental school. There are 3 other like huge, like not huge, but like major high schools in the town that's where most people went. So sports are still a big thing, just not at that school. So they formed these girls. There were 4 of them formed a circle. They were trying to form a circle, and they recruited me. Circles, based in their, I honestly don't know the name. It was very secretive. It was a weird kind of like culty experience, to be honest. I don't know what their tradition or like religion is called. So like I don't have something to say like this is what I started with. I can't say like it was this type of magic. I can only tell you like the things that I learned. It was so secretive. It was really weird. And it was by invitation only. And I didn't even know most of the people in town that practiced it, or even in the state. You had to like reach certain levels before you could like meet these people. And it was like so weird. Like talking about it out loud is really strange, but they recruited me to be the shadow element for the circle, because a circle is made up of the 6 elements. This is how I got into elemental magic, was with them. And so they had their fire, light, air, and water elements. They needed someone to be the shadow element, and that was me. But they obviously so they had kind of divined whether or not I was a shadow element person, because the whole thing with a circle is balance. So you can't have like 3 people who are a fire element and 2 of them are just like, oh, I guess I'll do air. And the other one's like, I guess I'll do water, like, because it'll throw shit that'll throw shit off. So we had like main elements. We didn't have an earth element person. They were not satisfied with any of our options, basically. They didn't want to recruit a friend of mine who's very good with earth magic, but she's what I like to call like a unicorn person. And also storms. She summons storms like a freaking badass. But anyway, they didn't want to invite her, and we had another friend that would have worked. She was an earth element person, but she was a lot more religious. And they said that the reason that they were unsure about recruiting me at first was because I was also religious. But I had been raised in a very charismatic Christian household, and so I was very open to like the spirit realm already. Like I believed in it. I just had like a Christian perspective on it, if that makes sense. All about like speaking in tongues and healing and the spirit and all of that stuff. Like I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but just that's the background I came from. So to me, magic made sense. Like energy and the elements and astral travel came to me pretty naturally. And so that's how I got started. We started like hanging out at least once a week. We'd have like regular meetings, but we would also hang out whenever we could. We would do group astral travel. We would do group elemental workings. We did a lot of like, just said the F word. Shit. God damn it. Oh man. Isn't it great that I'm not monetized? We did a lot of cooperative magic. That's what it's called. And we had a lot of run-ins with like other like spiritual groups and things. I'm actually not. Well, kind of. I'm friends with the earth person that they didn't want to invite. She is one of my best friends. She's and we still do anytime I need a cooperative working, like she helps me. She doesn't even live here. We do it all from a distance, and she's amazing. She's my heart and soul. And then we were also trying to put together, so our circle was female, and we were trying to put together the other half, which would have been a full circle, which would have been male, which would have made like a coven, basically. Like it would have been 12 of us. So we had a earth element guy, and we had a shadow element guy. And the shadow element guy is one of my other best friends. And he's anyway. So I'm friends with them. And then the light element person. So she and I did a lot of cooperative magic, especially because he just texted me. And like we worked together in like astral travel, and we had a very strong connection as people, and we actually do still talk. She and I are still very close, shields around, if that makes sense. And they're just people, like they're just living their lives and stuff, and sometimes people do shitty things, but there's some people that you can let your guard around, and there's other people you can't, and I'm definitely not friends with them. So it was like a very magnetic, like either we stuck together or we like repelled each other kind of thing. I wouldn't necessarily say that whole experience was healthy, but it did launch me. So they kind of kicked me out of the circle, actually, which was weird. But there was like a little bit of like a power trip kind of thing happening, and one of the girls kind of turned the other ones against me. And I mean, it wouldn't have worked if they didn't want to go with her anyway, so it's whatever. But when I got cut off, I refused to stop practicing magic. So then I had to teach myself, and that's how I got into really everything. Is because I started like drinking knowledge in like it was water. I'm breathing it like it was air. I mean, and there were not a lot of resources. There were not a lot of books. The internet was not very helpful at the time. So I did a lot of practicing with that friend that I mentioned, and with another one, a lot of experimental shit. I'm being honest, I have zero idea about magic and stuff. I saw one video of yours and felt intrigued. That's awesome. I'm glad. I'm super happy you were intrigued, and I'm glad you're here. So do you have any like questions about the basics, or like is there anything like burning you up about it, or I've been on here for an hour. I guess eventually I'll stop talking, but you guys get bored or when I need to eat lunch or something. What do you get out of doing this? Is there a real meaning? I think it depends on the person. For me, it was the first time that I felt any sort of power in my life. Thank you, Rachel. It was the first time I felt like I had any sort of control. I know that that doesn't sound super healthy. Don't worry, I'm in therapy now. But my life was real iffy for most of my like growing up. And it also gave me like a connection, like a spiritual connection, like feeling the power, not just being like, oh, I can change the world, like I've got power, but like feeling the energy itself as a living thing was basically everything I was looking for in a spiritual experience as well. Having been raised a charismatic Christian, for me, I had been looking for that like ultra spiritual experience for my whole life, and I had been blaming myself for not having it. And it turns out that that is just not my path. I don't have anything against it. It works great for a lot of people, and a lot of people can be Christian witches too. But for me, I needed something that made sense for me and something like big. And it was like that big thing that gave me not necessarily purpose, but it like kind of filled in that hole. Like, there was like this big old hole in who I was as a person. And I didn't understand why I wasn't, why I didn't feel like I was a whole person. Like I didn't know what was missing really from my life. And it turns out there was just all of this like, power. I mean, magic was something that I was denying myself. I also ended up coming out around that I had been doing from myself, that I stopped doing when I started practicing magic. So what I get out of it is truly a life purpose. Like I truly feel like I have a meaning. There's meaning behind what I do now. For a lot of other people, I'm sure it's different. I'm from Liverpool, UK. Nobody ever mentions this stuff, which is weird because we're the country Harry Potter. Yeah. Actually, depending on what you're interested in, Harmony Nice is in the UK. I'll get back to you, Rachel. Harmony Nice is in the UK. She is Wiccan. She talks about a lot of stuff on her channel. Her channel is exquisite, by the way. It's like the aesthetic is, it's gorgeous. Truly beautiful channel. But she does a lot of like Wiccan videos and talks about witchcraft and spirituality a bit. It's not everything that she does, but it's a huge part of who she is. So she does talk about it. If you want another like resource. I've never been to the UK, not yet. Do you think Harmony Nice, is that how you spell it? Yes, that's perfect. That's exactly it. And I think I actually feature her channel on my channel. Like if you go to my main channel page, on the like right side of the screen, there's like featured channels and there's like a list of people, and she's in there. She should be. She's kind of how I got inspired to do a witchcraft based channel, actually. So if you ever speak to her, like feel free to tell her. Because I didn't know that that was something that I could talk about. So you're right, it is kind of weird people don't talk about it, but there's still a lot of stigma. And also Harry Potter is fiction, right? So I think people like kind of let it exist in its own world and try to keep it in that box and call it like not real because it's fiction. I mean, it's the same for like Tolkien's work, and he was British, right? Huh, maybe he wasn't. Sorry, JRR. Okay, Rachel, my therapist is also glad I'm doing this. So I'm super stoked. I'm super stoked your therapist is glad. A lot of therapists are weird about it. But if you are a spiritual person and your therapist, I kind of like end up picking my therapists intuitively too. It sounds weird, but like, if you've got a good connection with your therapist and you are a spiritual person, then chances are they are also a spiritual person, or they understand the importance of spirituality if you're a person. I don't know if that made sense. But aren't people in the UK a lot more polite? Or is that a stereotype? I don't mean to be rude. I'm not trying to be rude. Good. I'm glad it made sense. But it's possible that maybe witchcraft isn't spoken about there as much because there's not as much I like maybe people could just keep it more private, if that makes sense. I don't know. I honestly couldn't say. It's kind of sad though. I think that in Europe, I'm not exactly sure where. I have a friend who's a history buff, and she told me at one point, so she would know. But I think that in Europe, there are still some laws from a few hundred years ago that either make witchcraft illegal or like allow for like burnings and things. Obviously, people don't. Excuse me. I think that there are some laws that just never got like rewritten, like they just kind of got buried, and people just don't enforce them. So, I mean, maybe there's still there could still be a lot of like fear. Whereas like here, I'm in the US, we had like witch trials and stuff, but like, you know, the whole American thing is like religious freedom to be whoever you want to be, freedom to stick it to the man or whatever. So maybe that's, not to get political. I'll stop there. Maybe Scandinavia. Yeah. So there's a temple, the only one that's dedicated to Thor and Odin in the Norse pantheon, and I need to go there. Really do. Iceland has kind of been calling to me. Denmark also, but I feel like when I go to Iceland, I might never leave. So, yeah, I highly recommend. Tell me about it. Some books say you have to be gay to be a witch. What the fuck? Who says that? Okay, so I guess now's a good time to mention this. Obviously, anybody can write a book. So you guys have no reason to believe me unless you want to. And that's one of the reasons why I really caution people to use their intuition about everything. Everything that you read, like if it doesn't feel right to you, then, or like if it doesn't feel right to you, toss it. Pass it on to somebody else. I don't mean like literally put books in the trash, but I mean, if it doesn't feel right to you, just move on. Likewise, if you read something, you read a whole book and there's only like one sentence that's helpful to you, that's awesome. Absorb that sentence and move on. You do not have to be gay to be a witch, in my opinion. I don't know who is writing books like that, but that's really frustrating. I guess I could see how there might be I think it would maybe depend on your perspective. I could see how maybe being open to sexuality would make you more open-minded to like witchcraft and other things. That's so interesting. I'd never heard that, Moy. I guess I could Google it. I know like gay witchcraft is a thing. Obviously, like I'm queer, so I is that obvious? But I super gender oriented, and it's hard. It's frustrating because I like does the stream keep pausing? It might. Maybe if I here, I'll turn my music off and see if that helps the internet connection. Let me know if you guys can't. You can't really let me know if you can't hear me. Well, you could try. I completely agree, Rachel. I don't know, and this is just like my perspective on it. I don't know exactly what the magic is, but it appeared to be something that touches on all spell work. Yeah, I can see that. I could also see it being one of those things where it's like we're doing books like for gay witches, but I just don't believe in cutting people out like that, you know? Like, I mean, I've gotten, I don't know how many guys, like how many people have asked me if guys can be witches, you guys. It's just not gender specific. It's just not. In my belief system, in my opinion, your soul, I mean, I believe in reincarnation, right? So we have the potential to be born into whatever body. Yes, actually, I wrote these two. The link will be in the description for both of them. They're available for Kindle and paperback, but I'm gonna write more. These ones are really short. Like they're short. They're supposed to be short. They're cheap and they're short, but I'm planning to write more of them, and eventually I'll write some longer ones, bigger ones. But I'm trying to like keep the subject matter like specific to topic, like so you can get a book on like specific topics. Maybe in another dimension it's all female. Are they on Amazon? Yes, they're on Amazon. They are on Amazon. That is how I host them. You can get to them from my website. It's amymelaine.com/shop. And that'll take you, the links will take you straight to the Amazon pages, or you can find them in the description of this video when it's posted. Yeah, I think that ultimately our spirits don't have gender at all, right? And gender is how we materialize, like physically, it's how we propagate the species, and that's really it, you know, in all of my lives. And I know that now as a person, I'm not attracted to people based on their gender. So I don't think that like magic or even the rest of the world really should operate that way, but that's my personal perspective. We live in such a gender ruled world, but I don't understand why, if that makes sense. Like that's kind of a human thing that happens, but it doesn't. I'm done with my rant. That got weird. Sorry. I have a lot of opinions. So much like stuff about like the law of attraction and twin flames and stuff. Yes, the body is an earth suit. Absolutely. Absolutely. Could not have put it better myself. Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's one of the reasons why health matters, right? Like you want to respect the skin you are is not your skin suit. Maybe gender is just what is happening in the cosmos, so the earth prepares us for our purpose. I'm gonna go now. See ya. Good talking to you. Thank you for being here. H. Huss. We'll talk to you later. Appreciate you. Bye. Yeah, I mean, on like a cosmic scale, like you want to talk like universal stuff, I mean, I think that probably plays a role. There's I think gender is really like a human construct, and there's like the concept of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and how like every soul has both. It's like a yin and yang kind of balancing that happens. So every soul has both aspects and like a balance of them. The like God energy, goddess energy thing, infinite like beings. It's just really hard to grasp that with a physical brain, and it can be really hard to like transcend your physical like life. And a lot of people have really, really, really difficult lives, like lives I can't even imagine. And so, yeah, like being able to be, I think, really spiritual. I don't think it's necessarily privilege. It's kind of like privilege if you can sit around thinking about it all the time. But some of the most spiritual people in the world really are people who live away from like modern civilization, people who live in, you know, small tribes. They have like amazing harmony with the earth and spirit. And I am transgender and I love the duality in a singularity. Yeah. It is a really beautiful concept. And I think that there's definitely something to like respecting the body that a person feels like they need to be in. Like, I think that there's definitely something in like demonstrating yourself or like being who you feel your spirit person is. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, it's not to say that like I don't think like gender matters at all. It's just, I think it's really big. It's so big, and it is really personal too. Thank you for sharing that with us. You definitely didn't have to, so I appreciate it. So are your pronouns she, her? I just want to make sure that I get that correct. Did you guys watch Rick and Morty? When Moy said that maybe in another dimension it's all female, it reminded me of a Rick and Morty episode. They went to like a planet. What is it? Like Morty had an alien baby and they had to take it. Did they take it back? No, I don't remember. I was watching Rick and Morty marathons and now I've lost track, but I think maybe in the first or second season, his sister and Rick go to this planet where it's like all like a matriarchal, and then the men are like the male of the species are like these big caveman brute things that they only use for mating. And I'm gonna have to go do lunch soon, I think. So do you guys have any other like witchy type questions or video suggestions or course for elemental magic specifically? I'm going to try and teach people how to, so it's taking some time. I work full time, so it's like, I can't work on it all the time. Hello from Brazil. Hello. Witchcraft questions. Fair. Yeah, buffering sucks. Also, like the networks, I mean, with like the whole world in quarantine, well, I don't know if the whole world is in quarantine, but the internet is getting bogged down AF. Hi, hello. Actually, I do readings. Email me. Email me at here. This is my email address. My business email address. And I can send you the info about readings. Yeah. I do various things. I just have not had a lot of time to put my services up on my website. That's been the main issue. So I have that. And there's some like weird like legal stuff too, where like I have to make sure that things are worded correctly. And I'm not like breaking any rules. You're so welcome. Thank you for asking. Yeah, email me and we'll talk about it. Moy says, another thing, the earth relaxes you if you get dirt in your cuts. Your stream is so relaxing and it helps so much while I try to revive my walls and seeds. The walls with seeds. Are you planting? Yeah. I mean, the earth is really relaxing. I don't know if I could recommend putting dirt in somebody's cuts because it seems like bad medical advice. And some places dirt's really that's amazing. Okay, so are you have you got cuts on your fingers and you're digging around in the dirt? Is that what's going on? Yeah, but I remember when I was a kid, like I would like run and play and stuff and I'd get all scraped up and then I get it that's harmful. There's definitely germs and stuff in the dirt. Like I'm not saying that there's not, but you guys know that old saying, rub some dirt in it. It's a completely different thing, but it's basically like get up and dust yourself off. But I make jokes about that because I feel like a lot of the kids, like I'm a 90s kid, so a lot of kids that are younger than me, I feel like don't have maybe as good immune systems because of like hand sanitizer and stuff like that we didn't have a lot of. I mean, your brain releases relaxing chemicals. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, the earth is very relaxing. I've been taking my pupper on a lot more walks, which is really cool because I'm in Dallas, Texas, so I'm like in a really fortunate place where I actually have like some nature around me, even though it's not like a lot. It's not like living out in the middle of nowhere, which would be nice. But yeah, just like walking in the dirt and the trees and the grass and like it's so healing. It's been huge for me. Like just it's been really nice. I'm glad my stream is relaxing. I've been thinking about doing guided meditations, but I'm kind of self-conscious about my voice. I know that I make YouTube videos, so that's kind of silly. But if you guys wanted guided meditation videos, I could start doing those. I've been thinking about it. It wouldn't be like ASMR or anything. Yeah? Okay, Rachel, I'll work on it. For anybody who doesn't know, Rachel is one of my patrons on Patreon. So she gets to request video topics at priority. That's a good way to put it. I'm gonna write it down. I have my notebook open over here because if I don't have it open, I'll forget that there are things in it. Yay, organization. No ASMR, like leave it for the earth, which is totally. I honestly don't get it. I mean, I understand like soothing like noises and stuff. And like we're all soothed by different things, so I get that, but like I guess ASMR is not really my thing. I find it a little, it's just not my thing. We'll just leave it there. We'll just, yeah. I've also been doing this thing where I instead of sitting crisscross applesauce and opening my energy to the earth's energy, I'll lay flat on the like carpet, on the ground, or on my yoga mat or whatever, and absorb the earth's energy that way. And it's very healing. It's very relaxing, and I swear I can hear her telling me things. So highly recommend, especially if you're an earth witch. And you can do it from inside. You don't have to be outside. I imagine it's much nicer if you're outside, but this is a really interesting time, I feel like, because we're in quarantine, but it's also the beginning of spring for a while we've been on the planet, because we're all kind of like, most of us, I mean, very thankful for the people who are working and like keeping the economy going, and like freaking first responders and medical people and grocery store people, like we need them. So thankful. But like, because the majority of the populations in a lot of areas are like staying home, it's like the earth is getting to breathe. And she will share that like beautiful cleansing energy with you. if you want it, if you ask her for it. So that's been a really cool experience as well, especially with all the anxiety that's in the air. Like, it's tangible. Okay, so I think we're probably gonna shut this down in a couple of minutes here. Is there anything else that y'all needed from me, wanted, or guess I could try to put Lilith in the frame again. She's in a chair. She sits in a chair very near me and makes grumpy faces during my meetings. Like while I'm like during the workday. She acts like it's an inconvenience that I'm here doing work while she should be napping. But she's much happier with me at home too. I think all the dogs probably are much happier with their people at home. The cats are like, why are you still here? Well, I don't know if I'm like, the thing takes a minute, so I don't know if y'all are writing anything. We've been here for an hour 40. I'm really, really thankful for it, and I've had a really good time talking with you guys. Glad you talked about trees. Talking, because right before I came online, I was outside and a tree talked to me. It's been observing me working with plants. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. They are very observant. Yeah. Be nice to those plants. Not that I think you wouldn't be, but yeah, they notice. Yeah. Trees are very observant. Oh yes. Oh yes, we're nice to the plants. I'm really terrible with plants, so I love that you guys are working with them, because I would love to, but I accidentally kill them and it makes me feel terrible. I feel awful. So I'm gonna try to like slowly work up to it, and maybe I have a bamboo that is still alive. It has stayed alive the whole time I've had it. It's been like 2.5 years I've had the bamboo. So that's it. That's all that I've been able to keep alive lately. I used to have a spider plant that grew like crazy, but other than that, I need to work on it, clearly. All right, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. We will do this again if you want to, if this was fun for you guys. It was fun for me. Try heirloom non-GMO seeds. Oh, okay. Okay. Heirloom non-GMO seeds. I have a patio, so there's sun out there. And there's a spot on my patio where like my neighbor above me has plants, and they water their plants, and then the water drips onto my patio. So if I position my plant just right, it can't rain. Okay, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody, anybody who's still in here. It's been great. And we'll definitely do again. Now that I know that this is something you guys would enjoy, I was a little nervous about it, if I'm being honest, but this has been great for me. So I appreciate y'all being here. And yeah, we'll work on it. I'll try to do a better job of announcing it ahead of time.